these different variations and stories. It goes really deep, but yeah, we are hybrids technically, is what they say. And they also say that like if the Anunnaki, which also wasn't one species, I believe it was a mix of species, and if you get into like the whole like reptilians and all that, supposedly the very first hybrids were reptilians, and they evolved the dinosaurs into a higher species. And then there was the humans, and if they left the humanoids the way they were, we would essentially, it sounds crazy for anyone's listening, but this is just what I've come to understand. I can't prove it, but they would evolve into what we consider now to be Sasquatch, which are fourth dimensional or fourth density beings. That's why it's hard to find, because they can blip in and out, and they have their own language. They're actually a more evolved fourth dimensional humanoid, and so they blip in. Yeah, so they blip in and out, and they're very conscious. They're self-aware. That's the natural human evolution. But we are a mixture of these higher ET, spiritually advanced race of beings, and that's why there's all different kinds of humans.
Interesting. Honestly, if I was aliens, like, and I saw this planet, like, who would you even try and contact? Like, we don't have a planet leader. Like, and if they could get to this, if they could show up the way they did, like, they probably know shit.
The Law of One talks about that, like, about the pyramids, our history goes even farther back than any of that, but the Law of One talks about that, where Ra, who is a sixth density being, which is a collective consciousness, so it's not just one mind, it's all in unison. Right, but not just the mechanical hive mind, but yeah, more so of and they came down in Egypt, and they started sharing a lot of this information and this like deep metaphysical knowledge. But the Law of One is all about, if you read the book, it says it's service to self. There's the two paths, like the dark side and the light side. Star Wars was based in a lot of truth. The Orion Wars, which is the whole thing. Yeah. But you have the service to self and the service to others. And the Law of One is seeing everyone as one. Everything's infinite. If everything is infinite, then by definition it's one, because you can't have anything separate than infinity, or outside of infinity. And so the Egyptians used this knowledge, a lot of them, for service to selfish reasons, and they weren't ready for it. And so...
Is that why they became so powerful?
Yeah, I believe so. And so there was the Giza Pyramid and a few other ones where helped these beings, these sixth density beings, helped create through sound, but not all of them. Some of them the Egyptians were able to build, and they were used for more than just tombs and coffins. They were used for they were like part like float tanks and meditation, where they'd go and travel in the astral and get this information and come back. And all I have to say is that's why these sixth density beings left, though, because they realized like, oh, we might have been doing more harm than good. They weren't ready. Yeah.
Which just that whole conversation, right? I remember like growing up when it comes to the church of like, oh, we're only 2,000 years old, yada yada yada. Then you talk about this kind of stuff. I'm like, it can't be. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, doesn't mean I don't believe in God, but I'm just like, there's so much more that clearly is not being taught for some reason.
Atlantis, Lemuria, different podcasts.
Trust me, the last couple of years, I've been like, fucking going nuts.
It gets crazy. Yeah.
I also love where this conversation went. I feel like it was like,
yeah, me too, bro. My bad, dude.
So who am I? I don't know a ton about Michael.
So anyways, that's who I am. That's where I am. Right
this is actually a great symbology. Yeah. Aliens, Jesus, healing.
This is where you're
that's
at.
me.
So which is great. I mean, I guess that's kind of.
And I guess
anyway.
To sum that up, though, yeah, it's like I am merging. I think I'm a bridge. I see myself as a bridge for like that old world and this new world, and bridging science and spirit.
Yeah.
And that's what I love, and I love giving people experiences through my magic, and like that's what I want to create is like I'm still trying to figure it out. I've done it here and there, but I want to create powerful experiences using magic and like in a way this kind of stuff, real magic. Yeah. So it's like kind of bringing it all together and figuring out how to partner with people and yeah.
There's some real cool shit that we could do with that.
I was gonna say there's some serious. We can create some serious magic. We got some wizards in the house, man.
Yeah, we're all freaking down.
So the question we usually like to ask at the end, if you could give yourself, your future self, say 5 years from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, a message, piece of advice, guidance.
Give my future self some advice?
Yep. So like, say you're listening to this in like 10 years. Also, how old are you, by the way?
I'm 32.
32. Okay,
I'll be 33 in October 10th. No one forget.
So say...
That's my birthday.
No,
what?
Wait, what?
That's my birthday, dude.
Birthday.
Wait, what, dude? That's my birthday.
So we're having a ranger in October.
Yo, for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
I don't know what we were talking about.
That's why I stopped asking the question.
Oh my god. The future.
Okay, so
Shit.
2 reasons why I asked how old. Pause while
dying.
Leila finishes laughing.
Yo, Jamie, pause it.
Okay.
So the reason why I asked is because like our whole concept of the podcast is like to track people as they go on their whole
Yeah.
journey. So like that's why I asked your age. Is like, so when people listen, it's like, all right, cool. This is where you were at when you were figuring this part out. Like you weren't 25 and you knew it all. Like
Right.
you're 32, and you're still like, what does this all mean?
Right.
Like where do I fit in with my magic and like serving people? And so if you could talk to your 37-year-old self, what would you like with the consciousness you have now? Like, what would that look like? And what would you want that version of Michael to hear from you?
It's funny because I feel like I'm still dealing with this stuff, but it's like sounds cheesy, but when I look back, it's like true. Like the only thing to fear is fear itself. So to embrace all my fears, because looking back, like all the magical things that happened was literally leaning into all my fears. And the more I did that, the more magical my life got. The more I questioned, the more I'm scared to ask that question. I'm scared to do that. But when I did, I was always taken care of. And I remember back in the day when I was like, where I'm at now, I mean, there's a point where I was like asking very simple questions and I was like, I don't have any information. I don't even know what to Google. And I remember just feeling like, if I could have this question answered, I'd be fine. And it has been so far past that. It's like the universe took care of me and gave me so much more than I could have ever imagined. And so I think I would just like consciously and intentionally ask the hard questions and literally like go into every fear and take massive action in the direction of all my fears. Yeah.
I love it.
I think you don't have to know what to do. I think it's just, what's coming up for me lately is like where my fear is, that's where my work is. Yeah. And it's like go into that as much as possible.
I don't know where I'm going, but I know exactly how to get there.
Exactly, bro.
Well,
fire.
Thank you.
This was before Michael was.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to today's story. You can follow us on Instagram at before.they.were to stay up to date with what we are up to and to get in contact with us and any guests we've had in the past. We hope you use these stories as a beacon to show that you are the master of your own life and that no one can tell you how to live your life except for you. See you next time.